sunglasses.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Sports Scoop Coaches Show. Joining me is Ted Hammond, my solid right-hand man each and every week.
Until next week. Okay,
Okay, Haith.
All right.
Well, let's talk. We don't have much local stuff to talk about, Teddy, but
We got one thing.
Yeah, I know.
Our director.
Let's.
Have you ever seen our director with sunglasses on before?
No.
I haven't either.
And this one's a lot better looking than
A lot
the
better
normal
than
one,
Andy.
too.
Yeah.
Let's look at the football teams that we kind of keep an eye on, at least in the surrounding area. And not a very good day at the state quarterfinals. I think there was like 7 teams that are somewhat in our area. I think 5 of them went down.
Yep.
So let's start with Marshall. They had a very tough draw. They got an undefeated Stewartville team that was ranked 3rd in the state. Stewartville handled them quite easily, 35-7.
Yeah, we a long time ago, the freshmen played Stewartville. When the group of seniors right now were freshmen from Stewartville, and they ran us roughshod all over our field, and we said, this is really a good team.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing the fruits of their labor.
Yep.
They're the real deal.
They're into the semis
Yep.
now. Blue Earth
Hey,
from the
Is Stewartville the Tigers?
yes.
Tigers everywhere.
Yep.
Okay.
Blue Earth, the old SCC foe, kind of surprised everybody, I think, by getting to state because they knocked off undefeated Waterville, and then they knocked off once beaten Maple River, and I think they came in with 4 or 5 losses. All they had to do was meet Caledonia, 48-0 Caledonia, and that's a football power too, Caledonia.
And they demonstrated that. And Blue Earth, I think they started 1-3.
Yeah.
So it's not how you start; it's how you finish. So they got to state.
You
know,
bet.
Hey.
Faribault Bethlehem Academy, somewhat close to us, we keep an eye on. They made it to state and knocked off Blooming Prairie on the way to state. Blooming Prairie's kind of owned that section for a number of years. They ran into a Goodhue team, I think, that's lost 3 games.
Yep.
Goodhue blanked them 14-0.
And what's the nickname of Goodhue?
Goodhue Wildcats.
Okay, so we gotta come up with a new nickname for us. That's it.
Then we had 2 teams kind of in the area that we keep an eye on. Of course, one, Belle Plaine, we played, and TC United is also from Montgomery La Center that we keep an eye on. Those 2 teams had met during the regular season, Teddy, and I think TCU won by a couple touchdowns.
Yep.
Well, they hooked up again at state. It was 41-24 TCU, but that game was 28-24 late into the 3rd quarter.
Did you see what happened?
Yes.
Okay. I was watching TV highlights last night, and Narveson went down with a shoulder injury, and
Yeah.
that was all she wrote.
Yeah, no doubt. So TCU will be one of the teams close to us that'll make it to the semifinals. They hook up against Piers on Friday.
Healy Pierce.
Healy Piers.
Okay.
Cato West is the other team that's still alive. Of course, they won state last year, and boy, what a juggernaut they've got over there at Cato West. They beat JM 42-20, a team that they had beaten by probably their closest regular season game by a couple touchdowns.
Yep.
And they will move on now and face St. Michael, and those 2 teams played last year in the semifinals with West winning 26-21.
Good game,
So
but
that'll be a good rematch.
you see the 3-pronged attack that
Yeah.
West is unleashed now. They used to throw the ball at Schlichty.
Yeah,
And
all
that's
the
how they
time.
won the state last year, and then this year they're going to ground pound. And obviously, when they changed, they didn't really change quarterbacks. They had a quarterback injury.
Yep.
And Meidel came in, and that kid's a real deal. Yep. And then they got those other 2 kids in the backfield. They rushed for like 400 yards
Yeah,
yesterday?
almost 400 yards on the ground.
So they got it all. And now with all the state tournaments outside, there's no more in the dome.
Great.
That's going to pay dividends for them later on.
Yep, you bet. And finally, the Cleveland Clippers, a 9-man, they made it to state, which was a great achievement for them. All they got in the first round is Grand Meadow, and I think they're going for their 3rd straight state championship. 52-14, Grand Meadow.
Yep. It's not just a semi-good Grand Meadow. It's Grand Meadow. Yes.
But the big shocker, of course, in high school football, Totino Grace beat Eden Prairie. Eden Prairie had won 4 straight states and 40 games in a row. And the amazing part of that is Totino Grace not only moved up a class, they moved up 2 classes. They're supposed to be a 4A team. Seriously.
Holy cow.
They've opted up 2 classes, and they knock off Eden Prairie.
Hey, that's impressive.
Oh, man, they got to be flying in
Holy
Totino.
cow.
Last year they met in the title game as a
Yep.
1-point game.
Yep.
So that's a couple of great programs there.
Well, hats off to
Yeah,
Totino Grace.
no doubt. Volleyball seasons. We have two teams still alive, 2 teams done. Waseca and NRHEG squared off in the first round of the subsection tournament. NRHEG defeated the Blue Jays 3-1, 3 games to 1. The Blue Jays finished 4-13. Teddy, last year they were 3-18.
Okay,
so
there's improvement.
You said 5-year plan it takes to crawl easily.
If the same coach stays there.
Yes, I know, and that's been our big problem.
Yeah, but they almost pulled an upset. They won the first game against New Richland. I don't think New Richland was expecting that.
I know it.
So that was good. And then I also, I remember I checked on the number of games. I forgot to mention last week when we were talking about you can have 16-game schedule. So we do have a 16-game schedule, but it was just one game each time we play. So if you get in a tournament, you can get 3 or 4 matches out of it. It just counts as one match.
Yep.
So if we want to do, obviously if we want to get up there, we got to get into tournaments. We got one next year, and we'll see how they do.
We'll see the difference there is Waseca has played 17 games, and Waterville's played 31.
Yeah.
Because they play a lot of tournaments.
That's another season right there.
NRHEG now will be 13-12, moving into the subsection semifinals. They play St. Peter at Mankato East on Monday.
That'd be a good match.
Yep. The other 2 teams, JWP and WEM, they ended up meeting each other. JWP, the scores were fairly respectable, though, for the Bulldogs against WEM. Waterville did win at 3-0. Janesville had opened the tournament by defeating Mountain Lake 3 games to 1. So the Bulldogs finished 9-13 for the year.
And a big milestone.
Yes.
That Waterville match.
Prep Spotlight today.
Yeah, that's right. Hannah Olson, for those of you that know her, she's a real solid athlete and student at JWP. She went over 1,000 assists, which is quite the milestone in volleyball, and then she also was over 1,000 points in basketball. So I guess 1,000 points is what she likes to do. So we'll see what happens.
WEM, Crystal Lamont, as we mentioned, they are the top seed in the South subsection. They are now 28-3 for the year, Teddy. Jeez. What a season! They set the career record for wins about 5 games ago, so they're really climbing up the old ladder on Waterville volleyball.
And like you said, they don't have BA in their section, so
exactly.
Let's see what happens.
They will play Alden Conger in the subsection semifinals Monday at Mankato West.
So, you know what Alden Conger's nickname is?
They are the, did know that too.
Okay. I just checked on you because you're so good today.
Yeah.
I didn't want to throw you a curveball.
I do know that. It'll jump out at me.
Is it Tigers?
No. No. So good luck to NRHEG and WEM. They are both alive, and they will both play Monday, one at Cato East, one at Cato West.
There you go, baby.
Well, we had a big week in cross country, Teddy. And by golly, look at that. I got half a page worth on cross country.
Andy, you'd be proud of this.
You'd be proud, Andy. Well, let's look at the Blue Jays first. Of course, they have had great success in the section, but got moved up to the big boys this year.
It made a difference.
The Waseca boys were in 2AA. There were 16 teams in the boys. Waseca finished 9th out of 16 teams. Cole Strike finished 3rd among 114 runners. He will be headed to state.
He's following his brother's footsteps.
Yes, he is. And the Jays' next finishes were Attenberger at 21st and Delgado at 48th. So I know Gary would like to pack them in closer than that.
Yep. Well, I saw Strike in the hallways the other day at school, and he's sprouting up.
Is he?
Oh, yeah. So you start getting those longer legs.
Yeah,
you bet. He's got.
Doesn't have to take as many steps anymore.
Nope. And he follows in that Jake Guzzi. He's about 6'8".
Yeah.
That kid keeps getting taller every day.
The girls also had 16 full teams. Waseca finished 4th among 16 teams. Abby Dufault will be headed to state. She finished 13th overall among 112 runners. The Jays then had 2 just missed. Culseth was 18th and McCabe was 19th. And they were only about 3 runners away from advancing to state.
I think it was 16th, wasn't it?
Yep.
Top 16.
Yep. But if a team, the top 2 teams, I think it's the top 10 or 12. But if the top runners from the top 2 teams had advanced, then you go down another one.
Drop down.
So,
okay.
Yep. So good performance by the girls in the section. The WMJWP Grizzlies and NRHEG, they are in Section 2A now, and that was at Montgomery. Boys first, there was 22 teams. That's a big section. The Grizzlies finished 19th. The Panthers finished 21st.
Okay.
And the WMJWP did advance a runner.
Yep.
Caden Cameron, is it?
Yep.
He's a freshman. He finished 7th in the section. He'll be headed to state.
Congratulations.
Yes. New Richland's top finisher was a 91st by Tyler Schlake. The girls had 20 complete teams. The Grizzlies, WM/JWP, finished 11th in the field, and the Panthers were the last team in the field at 20th place. Tierney Winter, will be headed to state, and I think it's her third one now in a row.
I think you're right.
It might be 4, but I know 3 I can remember.
Give us a call. We'll get it right here in the air. Okay.
She won the section class. That's, because I've been at that Montgomery Redbird meet that has about that many teams during the year, and it's just like a cattle stampede out of the start. So
is that at the golf course?
Yeah, okay. You got to get off to a start or you're buried.
As long as they don't ruin the tee box.
Yeah,
okay?
no kidding. Top finisher for NRHEG was a 71st by Jade Mely, is it? M-E-L-Y.
Well, there's a Mealy from New Richland, but I don't know if that would be any relation.
And the people that qualified for state, that'll be Saturday at St. Olaf College, where it's been for quite a few years now. Yeah, it's great venue for it.
Got that great big propeller there. You ever seen that thing?
Yep.
God, they say that provides what? Electricity for both St. Olaf and the other, what's the other
Carleton?
campus? Yeah, I knew I'd remember that name. What's their nickname?
Carleton is the...
Yeah. Hey, folks.
Stumping me today, boy.
We didn't rehearse this.
You're reaching into the college ranks to stump me.
I don't know what they are.
Well, moving on to the national scene, Teddy. We have no other high school stuff.
Should we go collegiate scene or national?
We're going to do some of both.
Okay.
I got an agenda here.
Okay. Well,
and boys basketball.
I've never argued with your agenda.
You're a week from Monday before the tip-off for boys basketball.
That's right, baby. I got my shirt out and ready to roll.
November 9th, the boys will start the practice.
Yeah, so for those of you out there, last year we had it where the boys started a week before the girls, and this year it's the same thing again. The girls' venue for the state tournament, apparently, for a couple of years, it got disrupted. So the boys will start a week before the girls, which is unusual. But at the same time, it's kind of nice because you got the whole gym to yourself. You don't have to share with anybody. And the junior high hasn't started yet, so we'll get going right after school a week from tomorrow. Today's Sunday, for those of you out there. And we're having a great time. We had 12 guys sign up for the varsity. We had a meeting already. Got to make sure they get their forms and get their physicals and get their baseline concussion test and
get their money
and get their activity fee. It's unbelievable today.
Yeah.
And now I got a code of conduct the parents have to sign. It's unbelievable. The old days, you just show up with your sneakers and go.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. No more.
Well, first off, Teddy, before we decipher between college or pros, it's been kind of a tough week for Minnesota sports fans. We lost Flip Saunders. We lost Jerry Kill. We lost Torrey Hunter.
Yeah. It's all in a week.
The first one is the worst one, of course, because that's a real loss to Flipper.
Well, especially when Hodgkin's lymphoma, that's one of those that you usually figure it gets cured and you're back on your feet and away you go. And then all of a sudden, complications, and then he's dead. And we were watching the Vikings game. All of a sudden, they came on and said Flip had died. We were like, what?
I was shocked because I guess I never heard or realized it was that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, when he came out, he said it's very treatable.
And he's at Mayo in Rochester, and you just figure you walk out of there.
And then boom.
Yeah, that was sad.
And of course, Jerry Kill, that was, whether you like Jerry Kill or not, that was a tough news conference to watch. The poor guy almost lost it about 4 times.
He kept it together, though.
Yes, he did.
But
you could just tell how much coaching and how much he loved that.
He was ripping his heart out. It really was.
What are you going to do? I don't know. Football's all I know. I mean, what do you do?
He definitely spoke from the heart.
Yeah.
Gosh, but that's sad.
Any thoughts my first thoughts, Ted, were that new Gopher Village. There might be a general manager or whatever, a top guy in charge.
But no, of
course, we don't know how serious all this is.
Yeah.
Yep. And of course, Torrey, you kind of saw it coming. I think everybody was hoping they could maybe squeeze one more year
I
out
was
of him,
thinking 2 years.
just for the morale, if nothing else.
And the tutelage of those young outfielders.
Yep.
I mean, the wealth of knowledge he's got. I'm sure the Twins are going to keep him somewhere in the organization.
Yeah.
They have to.
He's a very competitive guy, though, and after it happens, you start to think, I wonder if Torrey thinks my role's going to really be diminished, and do I want to do that?
With those outfielders they got there, you'd just be taking some of the young kids' place out there.
Yeah.
But when he went out on it, what do you have, 22 homers this year? I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Had that one really bad stretch in the middle where he just couldn't get a hit of any sort, but the start and the finish were both pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be missed.
Yes.
Well, let's go to the college scene. MSU Mankato coming after their loss last week to Winona State. All they did is bounce back and beat Southwest State, 50-something to 17.
Pierre Cooney, baby.
Yep, Pierre Cooney, your man.
What do you have,
Pass for almost 300.
3 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Ran
for a couple or
ran
two.
For 3, I think.
Okay.
There's 6 of them.
Yep.
That's that. That's 42 points right there. Yep.
8-1 the Mavs, and next week now they have a big match. It's at Sioux Falls, and I think Sioux Falls is ranked 10th.
Yep.
And have only lost one time.
Well, Southwest, I think, was right up there, too. And that was a good pasting for those guys.
Yep.
That'll look good in the standings.
The Gusties, as we predicted.
They're so close yesterday.
Yep. 6 straight wins. Now they've lost 2 straight. Bethel came from behind to beat the Gusties 33-24. They've got a tough schedule, boy, because they've got Concordia next week. Concordia's 7-2, and then the Tommies.
It'd be at home.
Yep.
The holdings for it are worth. But you know who the alumni from Waseca is up there at Bethel? Running back?
No.
Running Bear. Didn't he go to Bethel or did he go to Hamlin?
I think Hamlin.
Never mind. I knew it was one of those up there.
Yeah. The Minnesota Gophers, and boy, talk about a heartbreaker. But what in the world?
They must not have known that the clock was going to start.
Well, they had to know that.
Well, they didn't.
And no one knew it.
Well, yeah.
19 seconds.
Yeah.
As soon as they're reviewing that play, you should be calling your play, getting to the line. You can run any play you want, still have time to get up and spike the ball, and you still got your timeout left to kick it if you don't make it.
Yeah.
And they let it run. I was afraid they weren't even going to get the play off.
Well, so were the announcers. They were going nuts. But I tell you, though, they ran that triple I stack, and they always run that inside the 5-yard line, and usually you just give it a third back and try to pound it through the hole. But then they shifted into that, whatever the formation was, and I thought it was a great call if they had more time. And then all of a sudden, here goes Leitner back, and rather than run it up the gut, and they had a guy who was coming across from the other side, and it might have been a touchdown had they had more time to get it off, but I think Leitner almost grounded the ball.
Well, he did it, and he did a great job to get rid of that thing.
Yeah, because they had a blitz on, but I thought it was a great call as far as they switched out of that formation, because it's usually just a power formation and just try to push it in. And then you got 2 seconds left. Now, when you make the decision to go for the tie, go for the win, what would you have done?
I've gone for the win.
I would have gone for the tie.
But I would have never ran that play.
No.
In college football, when you've got 6-7 guys of 320 pounds, their only job is going to be to submarine under.
Yep. And the backers
and a quarterback's got less momentum than anybody.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's 240 pounds. He can't get anything
he didn't
going.
Get going.
No.
Nope, he didn't get any.
They stood him up, and that was it.
That was ball game.
Well, a tough loss for the Gophers. They're now 4-4, and
but Leitner had a great game.
Leitner had a super game, but the
little
Gophers,
luck involved with some of the tips there and going off helmets and stuff. But
I don't think the Gophers are even going to make a bowl game.
They got a stretch coming right now. Not good.
Well, they play at Ohio State, at Iowa,
and
then they get Illinois at home. That could be their win.
Yep.
And then they get Wisconsin.
Yeah. Well,
they got to win 2 of them just to be considered.
When was the last time they won the Little Brown Jug at
last
home?
year. Oh,
at home.
Quite a while.
God, it was last century, I think.
Yeah, it might have been.
But yeah, it was fun to have it. It's the Christian Brothers. For those of you that don't know it, but
might not want to show that brown, just the brown.
Christian Brothers doesn't mind. Okay, it's a big bottle. I usually go through this about once a week. Okay, so It's only half gallon.
And sometimes I think you go through it on Sunday morning before you come here to help you sing.
With communion.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You got a little wine with communion. Okay. This is brandy, isn't that made out of grapes?
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay.
Gophers will be at Ohio State, the top team in the nation next week, minus their quarterback.
Yeah. What in the world? How can you be driving while intoxicated during the season?
Playing for a national championship
God.
the day before a game.
Oh, jeez. That's sad.
Oh,
That is
terrible.
really sad.
Terrible. The Vikes, 4-2.
I was going to say, at least Ohio State's got a couple backups.
Yeah,
They're not worried
yeah,
about
they aren't
that.
hurting.
No.
Vikes 4-2. They beat Detroit 28-19 last week, Teddy.
Yep.
They go to the Bears today, where they haven't won in about 7 years.
Yeah, but the Bears are down, so this might be the time. But Teddy. I love that name when they're shouting that on TV. Boy.
And how about the Pack? They finally get to play some teams now. 6-0. They've had 4 games at home.
Yep.
They go back to back.
Yep.
At Denver today. Denver's undefeated. At Carolina next week, and if Carolina wins Monday, they'll be undefeated.
So there's going to be some undefeated teams falling from the ranks. That's what's going to happen.
No doubt.
Yep. We'll see it happen. But at least the Packers needed that bye week to get some injuries healed up, and hopefully their wide receivers now are healthy, except for Jordy Nelson, obviously. But Rodgers, we'll see today. Denver's defense is really tough.
Good defense.
Yep. So,
but I think if the Pack can score 14, that might be enough.
well, if high-voiced Peyton Manning's there, we'll see what happens, okay?
Well, you know he's going to dink them and drop them to death.
You seen that commercial?
Yeah, I love Peyton and Rodgers both. I think they're the best 2 actors in commercials.
I think you're right.
Teddy's Minnesota Wild.
Yo.
They had a 2-2 week. They lost to Winnipeg 5-4. They beat Edmonton 4-3. They beat the Blackhawks 5-4. Last night they lost to St. Louis 3-2 in overtime. And do you know who scored the winning goal for St. Louis?
David Backus.
MSU grad.
Yep. It was kind of bittersweet, really. They should have won it. They had, didn't that shootout?
I love that
overtimes?
3-3. I love that.
Boy, it's always a 2-on-1 going
Yeah.
either way. It's just been fun to watch. But now that doesn't count as a loss, remember?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was watching it with the shootouts. Obviously, you want the 2 points, and the other team. Well, it was fun to watch, and they're down. Dubnyk, if he'd just get rid of the first period, because he always seems to be shaky there in the first, 5-6 minutes.
Yep.
And he settles down, and then he does great saves at the end, and then you see him try to break a stick after the game was over. Couldn't even break a stick.
You know things aren't going well when you belt your stick and
He
can't even
just
break
hit that
it.
as hard as he could in the sideboards, and the thing just stood right. It was funny.
Wild it's fun.
Yep,
It's
it
fun.
really is.
Thursday they have the Predators at home.
I went to Nashville's where they played, the Predators, and I tried to figure out why did they come up with the nickname the Predators. We're talking nicknames today.
Yeah.
Nobody down there knew why. I mean, why would you come up with a name nobody knows where you got it?
Alden Conger Knights.
Okay, well, how about the Blossoms?
Still working on Carlton.
Okay, the Knights. My God, you're right.
Knights. Carlton Knights, too. It is. They're the Knights, too.
Folks, I mean, it's great to talk about.
I knew it would come.
Yep. The aging process, it takes time. Okay, but
We have senior moments, but they don't stay awake totally.
No,
Once in a while, they come back.
Well, that's really cool. I'm impressed.
How about the Timberwolves, Teddy? 2-0.
How about Cat? But I didn't know that was his nickname. Did you?
No.
See, I was saying, how do you remember his name? Is it Anthony Carl or Carl Anthony? I know, and then all of a sudden the interviewer after the game talking
Cat.
to him, and it's K-A-T.
That's good.
Yeah,
I'll remember
so
that
Big
now.
Cat. And then he went to where Wildcats.
Yeah.
Okay, Kentucky.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Cat.
He's
But-
the real deal.
Oh, my gosh, is he really? When Wiggins is playing tough, and Ricky Rubio goes off with a jump shot that nobody's seen before. And all of a sudden
Gee,
he
did you
comes-
see him the first game?
That's saying he had
Shot like he hasn't shot ever.
his career high for
Yep,
points.
yep.
And then he's got those young kids behind him there, and hey, they're 2-0 on the road. Does that ever happen to him? I don't think it's ever happened.
Probably
to him.
not.
No.
Monday, tomorrow,
Yo,
they have
Monday,
Portland
Monday.
at home. The Trailblazers.
Yes.
Okay. And finally, Teddy, on my agenda, the World Series. 3-1, Kansas City.
Oh. Sports Illustrated cover jinx, baby. Guess who was on the cover last week?
Mets.
The Mets, but who? What player?
I didn't see
One that
Sports
hit the 6 home runs in a row.
Daniel Murphy.
And guess who made the big old error last night?
Daniel Murphy.
How's he hitting the ball in the World Series?
Not very well.
Very well. That doggone curse, that they should have never put him on the cover, the poor guy.
Yeah.
He had something about Amazing Murray or something like that, and I thought, you poor guy, you're done. And he is so far. But what do you think?
Well, I think Wade Davis is almost unhittable.
Isn't that nasty?
My gosh, and he throws that slider on the knees when it's 2-0.
Yeah, and it just comes.
Zoom.
Yep.
Oh.
You kind of feel sorry for them when they're starting pitcher in the first game. His dad passed away, and they didn't tell him until after the game. I mean, I don't know. I suppose that's good for sports and everything, but I think I'd like to know if my father had passed away before that.
Yeah.
But the Mets, I don't think they got the offense to do it, and they definitely have the arms, but they don't have that in the middle infield they talked about. Don't have a lot of range, and it's kind of suspect right now.
Well, I think KC will let the Mets win tonight so they can win it at home.
You know what? Not a bad idea.
Where you can really celebrate.
No, I'd celebrate it right in the Big Apple.
I would too.
Anywhere you can do it.
Teddy, you have anything else?
Well, I'm trying to think about, let's see, any other sports coming up that we should notify people about?
Girls hockey practice has started.
Yep. Wrestling, when do they start? Any idea?
I think they're last. I think wrestling and girls basketball are the two last on the 16th.
Okay. Other than that, it's Sunday morning after Halloween. I didn't get my house TP'd last night. That was nice. Thank you, kids out there. Remember the old days we used to soap windows?
Yep.
You ever do that?
Oh, yeah.
I never did.
I did.
I was a good little Catholic boy.
I egged cars, too.
What? Oh, my God. What'd you do, Jeannie? Anything like that? Well, to go way back, folks out there, in my hometown, they used to take an outhouse and they put it right in the middle of downtown where we had two major highways, like 13 and 14 intersect in Waseca. And they put it right there in the middle of the intersection. And the poor cops have to come and, oh, jeez. The good old days, baby.
The good old days. Well, folks will have to just tune in next week to see if we're on or not, because Teddy has a little commitment, so...
Yep, I got a big 45th anniversary coming up. Can you believe that?
Oh, man.
I know it.
So we'll see if we can find a pinch hitter, and if we can, we'll be here without Teddy.
Or we can
if
go
not, we'll take a break and...
Or we go on another day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Join another day.
Yep, but say goodbye to Brown Jug.
Thanks to Hudson and Gene Anderson for producing this week's show. Thanks to my right-hand man, Teddy Hammond. And thanks to you for watching. Do we have a song?
Yes, we do. Okay. Guess who ended the game last night? Doo-dah, doo-dah. Guess who ended the game
That's
last
good,
night?
Teddy.
Oh, doo-dah day.
Not the singing, but the lyrics.
But
good.
the doo-dah, for those of you who don't know it, he's the one that hit in a double play at the end of the game.
Teddy
And Cespedes, the guy on first base, should be fined or something for, geez Louise. Okay.
Made a real effort to get back.
Guess who drowned in the lake today? That's where that song came from. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Okay.
And thanks to you all for watching. We'll
Thanks,
see you all next week.
Thanks, Steve, for directing.